Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is Earth, Air, Fire, and Water, More Techniques of Natural Magic by Scott Cunningham. So this is a continuation of the Earth Magic book. I talked about that not too long ago, and basically this is the continuation of that style of magic. Personally, I really love this style. Basically, this is just about using what's available to you and not really have anything like super complicated. Like, using found stones, he does list a few crystals and things if you want to, but for the most part it's like, go find like a square rock. And it's like, you could do that. You could go for a walk and find one. I mean, it might take you a couple tries, but like realistically you can probably find one soon enough. And it talks about like how to do simple magic that's really not that complicated. And again, the way Scott Cunningham used to write was such just like down to earth and just chill. And I wish he had been able to write more because I love that style of magic. I love this idea that like, do what works for you. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need to have all this extra fluff stuff. Just use what's available. The, energies of the earth around you. Like, it's just really nice. So in this, he basically just expands on a lot of concepts from the previous book, and he did say that some of his opinions have changed a little bit since he wrote the other one, because I think they were about 10 years apart in writing. So in real life, like, you change a lot in your craft over that time. But honestly, it didn't feel that different. I mean, granted, it has been a minute since I read that book, and I've read a bunch of others in between, but really, this just feels like you're sitting down and just learning how to do really simple, very easy magic. Now with that said, I don't think this would be really great for a beginner. I feel like this is really good for intermediate to advanced, mostly because he doesn't explain a lot of the things. And I feel like you need to have a decent grasp on how to connect with items and how to charge items, how to visualize, how to do this stuff before you pick up this book. Because really, you should know that stuff before you jump into this. He explains some stuff here and there, but that's where I'm like, it's probably more intermediate. The advanced you might not really need to, like, you kind of know what you're doing. But for the beginners, this might be a little over your head. It might be a little too advanced for you. I would do a little bit more research and a little bit more practice before you pick up this one. Once you have that down, definitely have this. It is a great resource. He talks about all different kinds of magic. He talks about like magnets and snow and ice and sea magic, as well as like wishing wells. Like, there's a lot of like kind of random stuff in here, but it didn't feel like too much, and there was a few spells. Granted, most of the spells were pretty like generic, but that's all right. It's good to have options. There was quite a few that I will be adding into my Book of Shadows as just reference pages for when I need to do a certain kind of spell. For example, I think there's only like one to like recharge your marriage. The rest of the love spells are to find somebody, which honestly is most common for love spells, is like you want to find a person. Once you have them, there's usually not as many spells for like strengthening your relationship or your marriage. And there's also, just like different things like that. Like, that's the most common one, because like honestly, money magic, most of us could always use more. And like, I did wish there was like a debt reduction money spell, but there wasn't. It was really just like bringing in money and like occasionally like finding a job or something like that. And like protection, obviously, like there's some that it was like interesting, like you had to do it like every 9 days indefinitely, and I'm like, interesting, for like a wind chime thing, because I do love the idea of a wind chime as a like component of a spell. But yeah, it's just one of those where it's like, they're very simple and very easy to understand, and really a lot of the tools are not necessary. Most of the stuff you can just find out and about. It even talks about like how if you can't find a wishing well, how to make one yourself. He does go a little bit into the elements themselves as well, and he talked about how candles are really all 4 elements, which is always interesting. You kind of find a divide in the community of, are candles just fire, or are they all of the elements? The unburned wax, of course, being earth, the flame representing fire, the smoke from it, even if you can't always see the smoke, it is there, is for air. And then as the like solid of the wax becomes a liquid where the flame is for water. And then just the whole combination sometimes can be combined to represent spirit or akasha, which I think is what he called it in this book. Overall, I think this is a really fantastic resource to have. I think that if you are in the intermediate phase of your learning journey, this would be a great one to add to your collection. And if you're just wanting to kind of get a little more simplistic in your practice, it doesn't make it better to have a bunch of tools or not, but sometimes it's just nice to have things in your toolkit of like, I just want to go grab some rocks. Like there's one that's like a protection jar that you put at your front door or something that's just like filled with random found rocks. And I'm just like, yes, this is my kind of magic. I don't want to have to go buy a bunch of fancy stuff and have a really long, complicated ritual to do. These are very quick. Most of these you can do pretty fast. He also had some things about like attuning with the elements and then also like to attune with like the night. I thought that one was really interesting because I hadn't really ever considered like going out and doing that before doing a spell. And it's like you're supposed to do it at midnight, which is like the struggle's real because like that is peak sleeping time. But maybe. Like overall, this book is just, it's a great one to have. I highly recommend it to everybody. So anyways, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit more low energy today. I'm catching a cold, so like the tired and the beginning phases of the cold are kicking in really hard. So like I'm not really here. This book was really a comfort to read when you feel like crap, to be honest. Like if you just want to like read a book to feel witchy, but like have very low standards of like having to pay attention and it's just easy on the brain, Scott Cunningham books, man. They're so nice. They just like take your hand and just guide you on this magical little journey for a few hours. It's wonderful. I was really glad that this had come up in my schedule when I started to feel sick because I'm like, yep, I need that because I feel like crap. And it's only getting worse. And I've been trying all of the medications and stuff and it's just not doing it. So alas, I think I will officially come down with this cold. It's like the beginning, like couple days, but like it still sucks. I hate getting colds, but 'tis the season because the times are changing. We're moving out of winter and into spring. Like we're starting to get rain now instead of snow. So like, yeah, it was just a matter of time. Every time season change, I usually get sick. So here we are, just right before Ostara. So anyways, that was a long ramble, side tangent. But anyways, I highly recommend you go and get this book. I got mine used, so I guess I can mention that to just for funsies. We got whatever this is going on down here in my copy. And then we also have this. And I don't know, it's the King Court Singers from 2004. The lords and ladies of the court will present themselves at 6 p.m. Saturday, December 4th at the Pilgrim Lutheran Church. So, and it says it's 10202 North Meridian Street, so I don't even know where that is. Like, it is not, it just, yeah, it doesn't even have any information, really. For more information, call Lady Susan Simon, and then it doesn't even give an area code, so I have no idea. You cannot call those kinds of numbers anymore. You must have like a 10-digit number. But anyways, that's one of the fun things when you buy used books. You're like, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, so anywho, that's gonna be it for this book. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comments down below, or which is your favorite Scott Cunningham book. If you have read all of his, I'm curious which one is your favorite. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.